thing. That's what we're going to do in May. And then in June, we're going to try to do another watch party for the second installment of Third Adam, which is the movie we watched, the documentary we watched yesterday. So if you want to, you can find that on YouTube and watch it. No. Yeah, I know. That's why I was like, yeah, sure. If you want to try to knock yourself, go for it. But you can obviously you can go ahead and watch it, and then we come back and we'll watch it together, and everything. Because as you know, that documentary is a lot like the Bible. Every time you watch it, every time you read it, every time you hear it, every time you're in a service, something new is going to jump out at you. So feel free to watch all 4 episodes that he's got out. And I'm thinking he's working on number 5 at some point in time. But anyway, very good information. A lot to think about in that. So now we're jumping back in, and we're going to be way short this morning. But 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verses 9 and 10. Our text verse that we're jumping out of says, "But as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit. For the Spirit searcheth all things, yea, the deep things of God." And of course, we're primarily using that as where we got our thought from, but also that's going to be the text verse for God's learning tree. And then we're using a very familiar passage in Genesis 3. I'm not going to take the time to read that just for the simple fact we ain't got the time. But as you know, we've been reading the first 6 verses predominantly of Genesis 3. Last time we were together, which was 2 weeks ago, we kind of got into a discussion about, counterfeit. We first started off talking about how do people find themselves falling prey to the devil's snares, and the obvious answer to that is we let up in our Bible study, we let up in our faith. We just start kind of letting go, little by little by little by little, and before we know it, we're over here, and we used to be over here. And how the devil tries to, and you saw that yesterday in the video presentation, and I can't put those on my head because I am burnt bad. But anyway, we saw that anytime God has a plan, Satan has an imitation plan that goes in the opposite direction. So with all that, with anything that God's trying to do, Satan is going to have his version of. Just like here, God has a learning tree. He has a way that he tries to get to us, to teach us, to instruct us, to get our attention. The devil has his own, and like I said, this is what we've been studying on. We've been studying that Satan comes to us first through the ear gate, and how he manipulates us. And we've been talking the last several weeks on the misguided beliefs that is an offshoot of the manipulation. Once we fall prey to the manipulation of the devil, we wind up opening ourselves up to believe false doctrines, false whatever you want to call it, false teaching, false preaching, false doctrine, all this stuff. We wind up opening ourselves up to that. Before long, we will get led astray, just as Eve did here in this passage of Scripture in Genesis 3, where the Satan comes to her and first questions her and gets her to thinking and running a rabbit. And all the while, she thinks she's doing right. A lot of Christians today, we think we're doing right, but yet we're walking away from the Bible. We're not sticking with the Bible. We're not sticking with the truths and the doctrines of the Bible. We start getting led astray. We start getting manipulated. Our belief system starts to become misguided because we start putting more emphasis on experience the things that we hear other people say that we like to follow or we like to listen to, whether or not, and then we don't put them to the test to find out, are they being true and honest, or are they trying to lead us astray and be dishonest? We don't really go forward because a lot of times, just to be honest, we don't want to know. I mean, it's just being honest. We just don't want to know. So we just kind of go along with the flow, and so forth. So, we kind of talked a little bit about that. But then today, going back and picking up on that thought of counterfeit, last week we finished out, we were talking about the drill, or 2 weeks ago, the drill that I bought from Jordan, and I gave him a counterfeit bill. I didn't realize it was. Now, this didn't happen, but this is the illustration that we're using. I didn't realize it was, and because I had gotten it mishandled, it came to me, and then I passed that counterfeit bill on to him, and then he takes that counterfeit bill to the bank to put it in the bank, or to buy groceries or whatever else he's going to buy somewhere else, and then finds out this is a counterfeit bill. The only person that's out is him. I have a drill. I have my money's worth. He's out. The same thing is true when it comes to the Christianity and these false teachers, false preachers, the people giving false hope out there. They're the ones benefiting from someone else's misfortune. For those that's being led astray, it's their misfortune because they're walking away from the truth. They're walking away from God. Whether they realize it or not, they're still walking away from God. A lot of people have walked away from the true living God, following some type of charismatic belief, some type of other type of emotional experience type belief system, and they think they have found God, yet all they have is found false doctrine. What they're chasing after is not real. What we have here is real. So just as a counterfeit bill is used to get something in need or exchanged for real bills, which a lot of people will counterfeit bills and take them and try to get them broke and get real money for the same. Can you change this 100? Can you change this 20? I need a 10 and 2 5s. Or I need a 10, 5, and 5 1s. And somebody will take a counterfeit 20. They're out $20. You've just gained $20 because the bill you passed was fake. So this is, when it comes to exchanging bills, the one who the counterfeit bill is passed to will always be the one hurt the most. Just like with Jordan and my illustration with him, he's the one out. He's lost a drill. He has no money. He has nothing to show for it. And now all he can do is try to come after me, and if I'm good enough hiding, he's not going to find me. He's not going to be able to come and seek retribution against me. So like I said, when it comes to that, that's kind of the way it is. A store or bank that takes a counterfeit bill will lose money or goods, and they will never get it back. And the same is true about our faith. You're saying, well, wait a minute, whoa, put brakes on here. What do you mean the same is true with the faith? What I'm saying is in saying that, what I mean is the length of time that you have spent off chasing a false doctrine, a false belief, you're never getting that back. It's just like in sales. If your livelihood depends on having something in stock that somebody is wanting to purchase and you're out of stock, you're never getting that sale back. If a competitor has that product and they go to this competitor to get it, you may have lost that customer forever. The same is true with our time, with our talents, with what God has given us. We have lost that. We're never getting that time that we've spent chasing something false. We're never getting that back. Once a moment is lived, it's gone forever. Nobody in here that I'm aware of was ever born a 90-something-year-old man and regresses in age to where they're a baby in their mother's womb. It doesn't work that way. You're born of your mother, and then your days are numbered, and they go up. And the older you go, you're never getting your 20s back. Doesn't matter how crazy your mind thinks that you're 20 and you're 40 and 50 years old. You're not 20. You're not going to recover as well as you used to be able to when you were younger. That's just the way it is. So when I'm saying all that time that we lose, we're never getting that back. When you're chasing something false, when you're chasing after a false teacher, believing in something false, you're never getting that back. You go back to Genesis here. Adam and Eve said, "I'm sorry, God." They were not allowed to stay in the Garden of Eden. They were removed, forcefully removed. They were forcibly kept out of the Garden of Eden. So they never got that back. They never got what they had back. We are never getting what we could have in our relationship with God back once we divert and go off chasing some false doctrine. Again, that is one of the reasons why it is so important that we stay grounded in the Bible, because it's in the Bible we find out what's real and what's not. It's just like Brother Chris said over there yesterday, for those of you that were there for the video that we watched. You know, he kind of made that same statement that, you know, when it comes to seeing some of this stuff, when we stay grounded in the Bible, we don't have to spend a lot of time studying how Mormon people believe. We don't have to understand all of the different nuances of every other faith that's out there. If their faith does not line up with the Bible, and the more that we stay in the Bible, the easier it's going to be for us to decipher and see that's false, that's not real. They almost got it, but, you know, here's where we differ and everything else. And it's like me and Lori was talking last night when I took her back to work and did some grocery shopping for the house. One of the things that he brought out in that video yesterday, and I know I'm talking a lot about this, and when we watch the second one, if you watch it on your own, one of the things you're going to find out is you're going to have your eyes enlightened to the fact of the big push today when it comes to religion. And please do not misrepresent religion for Christianity and faith. They are two totally different things. There's a lot of religions out there that will take you and point you away from God. Christianity, the Baptist faith, will point you to the cross. It will point you to Jesus Christ. That's the only direction this Bible is going to point you. Why? Because the Bible tells us this is Jesus Christ. This is how we see Jesus Christ, is in that Bible that you hold. You want to know why there's such a big push to push all these other different versions and perversions of the Bible? It's so that we lose sight. The water gets a little murky, it gets a little muddied, and we lose sight of who Jesus Christ is. And it's easier for the devil to manipulate us. It's easier for the devil to misguide beliefs. And then it's easier for him to bring misunderstanding in our faith. That is why he is so heavily prominent in trying to get us to quit reading and studying and understanding this Bible on our own and just listen to what somebody else has to say. But going back to what I was talking about there a second ago, when you're watching the Third Adam 2, he goes into one of the big pushes today is unity. He mentioned it yesterday in the first one. He really pushes unity, and that's what you're seeing. You're seeing that's what that coexist sign. If you sit down and study out all those symbols that make up that little bumper sticker that's so popular with a lot of hippies and different things like that, to people like that today that just kind of free will through life and and don't really have a care and want what they're doing, the sins that they're wrapped up in, to be accepted and everything else. You're seeing that being pushed in churches today. You're seeing that being pushed so much from all kinds of different faiths. And I use that term faith loosely. It's religions. All these other religions are pushing, we need to come together in unity. I will challenge you right now to take your Bible over this next week and find in there anywhere outside of a marriage and your salvation and being put in a church, a good Bible-believing church. You are never going to find anywhere in that Bible where God is all about unity. What you will find in your Bible is God is a God of separation. He is a God of, separation. There was another word I can't remember. You remember what I said that word was last time? Probably not. Okay. My mind just went blank. I was hoping she might remember. But anyway, you're never going to find where God is a unifier. He is a divider, and He is a separator. That's the word I was looking for, divider. How do we know? Go back to creation. What did He say? He said, for the day and the night to be divided. The waters and the land divided. You find it in creation. You find it all the way up into the New Testament, where the Bible tells us we are to come out from among the world and be ye what? Separate. God is a God of division. He is never going to be a God of unity. He is never going to unify and yoke up with the world. How do we know that? Because He tells us to not be unequally yoked together with someone of a different faith. It never works. I've seen it happen. Two people. One is my friend of mine. One is my cousin. In their first marriage, they both grew up Baptist, married Church of God. Neither one of them went to church because they couldn't decide and agree on where they would go to church. What happened? Several years later, they wind up getting a divorce. Why? Because they're unequally yoked. That is the problem. When it comes to us as Christians, we are never going to fit in out there. When we try to fit in out there, we're not going to fit in here. You're not going to be able to wear two masks. I don't care what you think you're doing. I don't care what you think you can do and pull off. You're serving one of two masters. And the Bible tells us that someone that's trying to serve two masters is not worthy of Christ. God is a God of division. He is always going to divide. There's always going to be a division and a dividing line somewhere in Him, in His Word. We are going to have to come out, and we're going to have to be over here and be separate. We're never going to be able to be over here hanging out with the world. That doesn't mean that we're not still supposed to try to reach the world. And we are. But we're not supposed to dirty ourselves with the world. You're never going to win a drunk going and sitting on the bar stool beside them drinking what they're drinking. All you're doing is letting them know, I'm no better than you are, and what I have to say ain't worth listening to. That's all it's going to do. Now, when it comes to trying to tell somebody what you're doing is wrong, you're going to be called judgmental. Why? Because that's all they've got. Don't worry about being called judgmental. I was called judgmental. We saw that. I brought the receipts out, as Brady said. I brought the receipts out. I showed them to you. They're online. They're still there. You can go look and see people and go look them up on Facebook, as long as their profile is open to other people. You can go and find these are all people that try to act like they're good, saved Christians, telling me I'm being judgmental, telling me that what they're doing, which is unbiblical, unscriptural, God would be okay with. That's oil and water. It's going to separate. Just like you put oil and water in in a jug and shake it up. It might be together for a minute, but what's going to happen is whichever one's the heaviest is going to sink to the bottom and push the other one up, and there's going to be a dividing line. You're going to see oil and water, or water and oil. I don't know which. All I know is they don't mix, okay? You're going to see a dividing line. The same is true with the Christian life. You're never going to fit in out there trying to hold on to this Bible and trying to hold on to your Christian faith. God is a God of division. You're never going to be able to fit in. So like I said, when it comes to that, when it comes to our faith, we're never getting all that back. We're never getting that time back. We're never getting what God would desire for us to do. We can pick up and continue on. We can come back and pick up there, but that time back here, we're never getting it back. We've lost that. There's no telling how many people that our life has pointed in the opposite direction and pointed in the way of hell. You can try to go back and talk to people and convince them that you are wrong and whatever. You're never going to get everybody that you have affected. Why? Because somebody's going to tell somebody and this and that, and it's going to continue on and continue on and continue on. You're never going to be able to get all of those people that was affected back. You're never going to be able to. Doesn't mean we can't try and make things right. We should. But when it comes to our beliefs, they need to be grounded in this Bible. They should line up and match this Bible. Without the Bible, we're no better than anybody out here. We're never going to have direction. We're going to be a rudderless ship floating in the ocean. No direction, tossed about with the wind and the waves. Wherever they drive us, that's where we're going. That's what a rudder does, and it's a little bitty thing on the back of a boat that points it with a big steering wheel up front. I don't get that. You got a wheel in the front that's, going back to, your pirate days. That's 4 foot wide, and they got a little bitty 2 foot wide, 2 foot high rudder in the back of the ship that's directing it. Whatever that means, I don't know. But when it comes right down to it, without the Bible in our life, we are susceptible to having our beliefs misguided. We're susceptible to the manipulation of the devil, and we're susceptible to being the boat in the ocean without a rudder, just out there. That is why the Bible is so important. That is why the devil is fighting this Bible with everything he's got. Because the more he can make the Bible less important to us, the greater opportunity he has to get in through the ear and allow us to manipulate ourselves, to manipulate us, then affect our belief, and then we'll start to accept misunderstandings as Bible truth without the Bible. I know that sounds crazy, but that's what he's trying to do. That's what the devil's trying to do right here in a nutshell. So, sorry we didn't really get a chance to. I tried to hurry and speed through that. Really didn't get as far as I'd like to, but we'll come back next week and pick up